my name is Robin Golden, and in this video I would like to show you just how easy it is to paint something with chalk paint. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're wearing something that you don't care if you get paint on, because sometimes the paint does stain your clothing and you can't get it out. So let's get started. What I'm going to be painting today is this picture frame. The frame is made out of some sort of plastic, and it's got nice little pieces of texture which will actually look really good and will complement the paint. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean it off to make sure there is no dust on it. And then I've already removed the glass. So this is the paint that I'm going to be using today. And I just a little brush. So I'm going to begin. The paint is fairly pigmented, but you're still going to want to do at least 2 coats to make sure that it's opaque and that it gives a solid color on the frame. So now I'm going to start on my second coat. After the paint is dry, you'll notice that it has a matte finish and it feels rather chalky. That's normal, and that's part of the type of paint that it is, but for right now we're going to put a little bit of a design on the paint, and I'm going to do what we call a dry brush. So to do a dry brush, you're going to dip just the very ends of the bristles into the paint, just the very end, and then you're going to dry the brush, take the paint off. And it's almost, if you can get a close-up, there's almost no paint on the brush at all, just a little bit. And I'm going to take the dry brush and I'm just going to lightly go around the frame and just put very small amounts of paint in various places on the frame. Now I'm just going to use this one color, but you're free to use as many colors as you want when you do this, but the yellow is just going to work for me very nicely. So the paint on the frame is all dry, and if you could get close up there. So it's definitely a little chalky, and so what we're going to do now, the next step, is I'm going to use the sandpaper, and I'm going to smooth the finish on it and rub a little bit of the paint off. I'm just going to go around and rub. Sometimes this can cause a lot of the dust to come up, so it's always good to have a little mask handy, which I do keep. I don't need it right now, but just to show you, I'll probably edit some of that out. I keep these handy in case I need it, just so I don't breathe in the paint dust. Keep going around. So in addition to rubbing off the paint in spots, you can also smooth the finish just generally on the frame, because the paint does have texture to it, so sometimes there'll be brush marks, and I don't particularly like those all the time, so sometimes I go over and just smooth the paint as well. One over. Once you get finished with that, then you're going to clear the dust off of the frame. So the next step and final step is the wax. This wax is by DIY brand, and I don't endorse any particular brand, but this is what I'm using today. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your cloth, and I can just use the same cloth that I used to brush the paint off, and I'm going to dip my cloth into the wax like that, and you really only need a small amount. So I'm going to just dab it in areas of the frame, and then I'm going to start working it in. Now you'll notice that the paint is going to get a little bit darker. One, it's going to stay darker because of the wax, but two, the wax will dry, so it won't be as dark as what you see. So you don't need too much wax, but you do need enough to cover it. Now there are different products that you can use for the finish. You can also paint on a finish, a gloss or semi-gloss, but for something like this, I think the wax works very well. So we're gonna keep rubbing the wax in. Okay, so now that the wax on the frame has dried, it is time for one final step to finish the project. So I have some paper here, and I think this just came from probably some packing, and I saved it specifically for this purpose. Any type of paper will do, but usually something that's soft and crinkly like this. If you get a package, you can just pull it out and save it if it's wrapped in something like this. So what I do from here is I ball the paper up like this, and I'm just going to take the paper and rub it in a circular motion throughout the frame. And what this is going to do is it's buffing the wax, so it's going to make it shiny, and it's going to leave a nice, smooth, textured finish. So the frame is complete now, and I actually love the way it looks. Completely changed the way the frame looks. It's shabby chic, it has a lot more personality, and it's much more fun. So I hope you learned something from this video, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.